Hi, I'm Olivia Wayne and I'm here with 3 More Inches brand creator Michael Van Clarke talking all about LifeSaver. Now this is a pre-wash treatment. It is so unique, it is so fantastic. I use it. Talk us through the creation process and what it is and why pre-wash is so important.
Well, it is different for people to think about pre-wash, but it's actually, it's the one that makes the most sense, and it's where the original professional triecological products come. I think how the market has developed, people have got used to the word mask, and it's something which they put on their hair after they've shampooed.
Or at least when wet. It feels like.
Or when wet, but most of them are after you shampoo.
Right, okay.
And the reason they're after you shampoo is because they're not really much more than glorified conditioners. And were you to shampoo the hair after, you just take them all away. And being glorified conditioners, they actually don't penetrate the hair very deeply. So they are more cosmetic. So the pre-wash treatment is filled with ultra fine amino acids that actually penetrate very deeply into the hair and help to restore broken bonds, fill in the voids that open up as the hair ages, and protects the hair from further degeneration. Because it drives deep into the hair, it can then take the shampoo after. And our shampoos and conditioners also have the key ingredients that help to sustain the hair. So keep it topped up. But the other benefit of a pre-wash, and this is what people discover when they find the brand, is that actually it makes much more sense to put a treatment on your hair dry before it's washed. And you put the treatment on to wet the hair with treatment from roots to tips, and then you leave it. Now you leave it either 45 minutes, an hour before you wash it.
You'd suggest?
45 minutes is, we say, about the minimum. Some people will use it overnight. They'll put it on a couple of hours before bedtime. It dries clean, so it doesn't mess the pillow. Some people, particularly people with thicker hair, find they actually rather like how it dries, and they don't wash it off for a couple of days because it has a sort of controlling beachy effect on thicker, frizzier hair. But the whole point of a pre-wash that you can put on, and then it takes a minute to put on, and then you can get about your day, go to the gym, go to the salon for your blow dry, any situation where you're going to then shampoo your hair, it takes a minute. That's very different to shampooing your hair, putting on a mask, wondering what to do for 20 minutes.
That is literally my worst thing.
And it's why people don't use them.
I make it cold and waiting for this treatment.
It's why bathroom cabinets are full of masks, because people use them once when they think, I'm going to treat myself tonight, and after that they can't be bothered.
Or just wrap your hair up in a hot towel for 10 minutes. What? Yeah. But what do I do? I'm half in, I'm half out. It's awful.
So they don't get used. Whereas when people get into the routine of using these, not only is it a far superior treatment, but it actually fits in with people's lifestyles.
Which makes a big difference, because a lot of hair care or self-care is time that maybe not everyone has or even thinks about ahead of time. I must think in 5 hours I need to do. You don't think like this. Right. Slap it on and go about your day. But you're not washing out anything. All it's doing is filling up the hair, but you're not going to wash it out. You obviously remove product, but you're not washing out the goodness.
You wash out the excess.
Right.
You'll find the hair will drink it up. So this is what people discover. They see how parched their hair is, how thirsty the hair is. The hair will drink it up. It dries in a nice way. And then the shampoo is just take off the excess. But the benefit is within the core, building from within. And this is repairing the protein structure so that it can actually hold on to the correct moisture balance, which is very important. But the most important thing about this product is that it is bioavailable to the hair. And by bioavailable, I mean that the hair takes it on. There are products that are on the market that have the most lovely sounding ingredients. And you can get drawn in to buy that because it has this amazing mountain flower or this element from the jungles and whatever. But for most of them, the hair doesn't take it on. You know, it either sits on the surface or it goes down the sink, and it has no effect on the health of the hair. It may give a cosmetic effect to make the hair look nice today, feel nice today, but it's not actually doing anything long term.
Whereas this is doing good.
So bioavailability is a key feature, and I think it's a term that people are more aware of with nutritional supplements. I think people understand that a lot of the things that you may take in a pill just go straight through you.
So Lifesaver, the original, what is the main component of it, therefore? You mentioned amino acids.
Yes.
Talk us through kind of the specifics or the ingredients that do the good work.
Most supplements are a waste of money because the body doesn't absorb either the ingredients that are in there, or they're not in the right form, or they're not partnered with another ingredient that the body needs in order to assimilate it.
Like magnesium and calcium together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's the same with hair. You know, you can put things that sound lovely into hair. Hair's mainly protein. Oh, I'll put protein in it. Well, there's all sorts of different protein. You know, hair is made of keratin, so we'll just chuck keratin in. Well, that's not necessarily the keratin that the hair's made of. So what's really important is it's of a type and of a blend that the hair does absorb. And the proteins that are in this product are first of all hydrolyzed into smaller amino acids. So the protein chains are far too long, you know, for anything to absorb. They have to be broken down into the amino acids. That key element comes from cashmere, which is molecularly almost identical to human hair. And then it's blended with a range of other key ingredients that together the hair will absorb and perform and give a protective mix to the hair shaft, but feel very natural, and that's the important thing. Too many things go on to hair and it's like, well, I don't like the feel of, I don't want my hair to feel like that. People want their hair to feel natural.
What's amazing talking to you is that you clearly know what is going in these products. This is not stamping your name on a bottle. This is working with a trichologist and top trichologist to get to the details, which gives confidence to anyone using it.
Well, that's nearly 30 years of looking into the chemistry of these things. So, you know, I can advise labs. I don't create the samples myself, but I need to be able to advise them after I've tested samples in what I feel is not balanced right, or what we should try into something. And that's something that we're continuing to do now. I'm very involved in the whole process.
You mentioned that some people don't like the feel of a product. With Lifesaver, can you overuse it to the point where it won't feel right, or because the hair will absorb what it wants and you're washing it out, it doesn't really matter? Yeah,
it's a great question. You cannot overuse Lifesaver, because the hair will take what it needs and what it wants.
Can anyone use this product as fine hair, thick hair, wild hair, short hair? Is it a one product fits all?
Across the board, absolutely.
Wow.
And what we find is that particularly people with fine hair have an experience that treatments make their hair heavy and lank. But that's because those treatments are usually laced with silicone or heavy oils. So they just don't use treatments. And yet people with fine hair often have fragile hair that more than anything needs that protection and feeding to keep the hair full and to stop the hair from breaking and splitting. So we find across the board whether the hair is very thick and coarse or very fine, like Nordic hair, often very fine blonde hair, you know, the treatment works brilliantly across the board.
It's so important to look at these products as totally original, unique things. It's not another hair cream or another mask, as you said. It's its own kind of category of product.
Absolutely.
So that's Lifesaver, that's the original. And then we've got a few more here. So can you talk us through, let's talk Deep Sleep and Ultra.
Yes. So the interesting thing with Lifesaver is that because in its early days, this is before the gym revolution, this is going back 25 years.
Yes.
Most people would use this at night. They put it on a few hours before bedtime, wash their hair in the morning. We particularly didn't want to add a fragrance to that would then confuse things and have fragrance swirling around while people were sleeping. So this has never had a fragrance. And then come the whole COVID issue and lockdowns. For a lot of people, myself included, sleep patterns were really sent awry. And we discussed as a team, actually, it would be very good to deliberately put a fragrance in that would aid sleep and relaxation. And so we do have a fantastic fragrance house in Grasse in France, which is the centre of international perfumery. And they create our fragrances for us.
Wow.
And I asked them to create something using the elements that we knew would reduce anxiety, promote healing, and encourage sleep and rest. So they came up with a fragrance that has about 12 natural ingredients like lavender and geranium, vetiver, a beautiful fragrance. And most of those elements are about promoting healthy sleep.
So that's the sleep.
And that is deep sleep.
But that's not for your hair, that's like an add-on on top, that it smells nice for you, but it's not going to nourish your hair.
Absolutely. It is essentially this original product
with a gorgeous smell.
With a fragrance.
Lovely.
That's the only difference. This has the fragrance to encourage a restful sleep, because we all know a good night's sleep is the best beauty hack.
Isn't it? If only we could all get one. Okay, so that's deep sleep. Again, a pre-wash, wash it out there the next day, or unless you're enjoying how it looks.
Yeah, which you may just leave it for a few days. I mean, I know people that will put it on and leave it for 4 or 5 days.
Right.
And put more on in between.
So it is all a pre-wash, but it's also kind of manifested itself into a bit of a styling product too.
It has.
For some.
It has.
But that wasn't its intention.
Well, it wasn't its intention, but because so many people with thicker hair were using it that way, we actually devised a lighter product in this, particularly as a leave-in.
Okay.
And so this is essentially a lighter version of this. So people with finer hair, as well as people with thicker hair, can use a leave-in treatment. And this also has the UV protection.
So you're out and about. And does UV, please educate me on this, protect from heat styling, where it's just the rays from the sun? But is there any kind of impact or protection?
Yeah, so this will help protect from heat styling as well, because heat styling, very much dehydrates hair. So keeping that moisture content together is very important in the long-term health of hair. So this is also a heat protecting product when you're styling. Great. So how we use this product, it's such a versatile product across all age groups and all hair types. I even use it myself because my hair is actually much fluffier and bigger without it. But it's so easy to use because you just put some on wet hair, comb it, and that's it. So people with very wavy hair that's frizzy can use a lot of the product, and it will dry in smooth, beachy waves. You can use it as a styling product. If you're blow drying the hair smooth, you would put less on, a teaspoon or 2, and then when you blow dry, it would make it easier to blow dry. It would make it stay longer, smoother, hold the frizz away for longer, and give it more of a shine. And also you've got the UV protection as well. Wow.
So, but it also doubles up as this pre-wash treatment for when you then wash it type thing.
Yeah.
You're getting all the goodness in at the same time.
So if it's more of a styling product,
right,
but what we found is that in the early days we actually had one of our staff testing this, and we tested it over a year-long period before launching, and she had tinted red, long, frizzy hair, and she would use it as a styling product. And what she found after a year, when the hair had grown through thicker, she'd never had a hair quite so thick, but also that she noticed that the colour didn't fade like it used to. And that was because she'd been using it so regularly as a styling product. The hair had stayed protected. And I don't know if you know, in terms of colour fade, red fades quicker than any colour.
Oh, right, okay.
So, to have someone with long, frizzy hair where the ends stay the same colour as the roots for the duration until it's tinted again is actually really quite exceptional.
Yeah, and game-changing for them.
Yeah.
So Lifesaver UV is amazing day-to-day for styling, as you've just mentioned.
Yeah.
That UV element, though, is that a very useful tool to take away with you on holiday?
It is, and actually before we developed this product, there was very little choice of UV protection for hair. So the few products that were available were usually heavy oils. So you really had a choice, did you want to have an oil slick on your hair, or stay indoors, or wear a big hat? There wasn't really much choice of wearing your hair normally, but also having UV protection.
I also feel something a bit odd about slathering oil on your hair to crisp it up, to protect it.
Maybe under hot sun as well. But the fact is, you couldn't have your style.
Oh yes, absolutely.
You'd have to have this oil on.
Yes.
So there was actually very little protection. And then we discovered some elements that worked very well with hair, natural elements of UV protection, and tested these products. And actually, we tested them under very, very harsh conditions. The first test we did was in the Maldives, actually.
Lovely.
And this was a 7-day test with hair wefts that we brought from London. And these were like long wefts of hair that we would use for extensions. So we would
real hair?
Yeah, real hair that we would cut into 2 or 3 pieces. We'd have a controlled piece that stayed indoors. And then we'd have the piece that we were protecting here and the piece that was unprotected. So the test was, these were pinned to a dock over the seawater and left out for 7 days. And then once a day...
Just once?
Once a day we'd pour seawater on them.
Okay.
On both of them. And
who devised this experiment? This is brilliant. I love this, right. So chuck a bit of salt water on.
Salt water goes on as well. Yeah. And then this one is protected twice a day with Lifesaver.
Okay.
This one isn't.
Not.
And you see, not only is the colour held much better on here, but you see the fluffiness and the weakness, because it's not just sun, it's wind as well. The sun's dehydrating, the wind's blowing them around.
And that's salt dehydration.
The salt is very corrosive to hair. Yeah. A lot of people don't appreciate that. And so you see the great colour difference there. And then we did the same thing with pool water.
Oh yeah, chlorine.
In the Negev desert, which again, blisteringly hot, with a dark weft. This time we took brown wefts with us, and this is day 7, as you can see, my own handwriting. But you see the colour difference already.
Your suitcase must look very odd.
Sometimes there's a separate suitcase.
Right, just with your hair and your product and your experiments.
And scientific weighing scales and everything.
Now, I have something controversial to say to you. Some may say this left-hand sample looks amazing.
Sure.
Because it does. It looks, it's sun-kissed and it's perfect wave.
Yes.
But what's the reality of this hair situation?
Well, but the reality is not just the colour, it's actually degraded the hair. You can see it started to become fluffy, it's thinner. Yeah, there's actually less hair there because you've lost some of the structure of the hair because it's degraded. And you can achieve lighter hair in safer ways than going into the sun unprotected, because as much as people love the idea of sun-kissed hair when they've got a tan, they often realise 2 weeks after coming home when the tan's gone that their hair is destroyed.
Yeah. And that now takes 3 years to get back, because you've got to have all that new hair come through to save that.
Exactly, and this illustrates it really here. And this is a severe case of broken hair, but actually not that uncommon these days. And what we see is that at the root area here, the hair shaft is full and complete. And as it ages, it thins down and the surface cuticle opens up. And this is the natural process of aging for everybody.
That's just how it goes.
That could happen over 5 years, or it could happen over 5 months. You do have a lot of control on how quickly that ages. And with the right protection and good care techniques, there's no reason why the hair should degenerate too quickly. And so you keep much more of the hair at the bottom as well. In here, 90% of the hair has been lost to breakage and thinning of the hair shaft.
When you're using Lifesaver on your hair, if you load up the scalp on the top, it won't matter. It just won't absorb it and you'll wash it out. Is that how it works? So it will take what it needs, and if it doesn't, it just sits there. Whereas down here, it might drink it all in.
Yes, absolutely. And it's important that you put it from the roots down.
Okay.
And it's actually also a good balancing product for the scalp. So people that start to use this, they start to say that actually my hair doesn't seem to get as greasy so quickly. You know, the hair feels better for longer. But it's important that you're not only trying to repair this, and in truth, you will never turn that back to that.
Yes.
You have to protect this so that it replaces it without becoming like that again.
I see. So don't worry about that. Let's maintain the future.
You're,
Prevention rather than cure.
you're lucky you've got extraordinarily thick hair, but you will also experience that dryness.
Yes.
Where, you know, that needs to have protection so that it doesn't become too fluffy at the end. You know, you have very thick hair, but it still has that dryness that you want to try and control.
So Lifesaver as a pre-wash will really
Lifesaver
do.
as pre-wash.
Will save my life.
Amazing.
Okay, so using Lifesaver treatments regularly is going to give me more shine, more protection, healthier, stronger hair, which will then make, I guess, it appear longer, which is where this all comes about.
Well, if people want to have their hair longer, it will enable the hair to grow longer before it breaks down. But for some people, they want their hair the same length, but to be healthier and thicker. You know, not to have so much breakage, not to have so much thinning. And that sort of hair means much less effort in styling. So it's a bit of a vicious circle. If you allow the hair to degrade to that degree, you have to work it harder for it to do anything. It doesn't last as well. And so the hair then ages even quicker. So, you know, this is about a better strategy for healthier hair that's easier to manage.
Lifesaver it is then. Thank you very much, Michael. Okay, let's talk through Lifesaver Ultra. What's the point of difference on that one?
Well, again, I think that this came out of lockdown in that, I think in all the austerity that was going on, and this idea that we were being, you know, unable to live our lives properly, the contrary of something ultra luxurious came to me. And I just wondered, you know, what if we were to put in much higher concentrations of the key ingredients? You know, would it be too much, or would it actually make a difference that was worthwhile? And so that's what we did. We put in almost 3 times as much of the key ingredient, which is this mix, which we have trademarked as Hydra Bond, which is a mix of these key ingredients, and also a UV protector. And I was actually bowled over by the results. Even I was surprised at just how different this would make the treatment. And so that's really how Ultra began.
And so why would, if someone's looking to like get a Lifesaver, why would you choose Ultra over the original?
It's a more intense treatment.
So for very dry hair,
yes,
right,
yes.
Okay.
More intense, and what we found is that across the board, people love the treatment, and we found that a lot of people will carry on using both. You know, they may alternate, or they may use the Ultra for a month and then alternate. But it's not as a replacement for the original. I think that's still our hero product, but this has been, you know, incredibly successful.
Okay, talk me through how we apply it then.
Yeah, so it's really important that it's applied to all of the hair.
Okay.
And you would put enough on the hair to wet the hair. So this isn't like a little bit of conditioner going on and just dabbing the ends that are dry. It's about the whole hair shaft being covered to be wet and allowing it to absorb the product. So from root to tip, and enough to wet the hair.
And would you suggest sectioning out your hair, or just working your way through it?
It depends how much hair you have, how thick the hair is or how long the hair is. On short hair, you know, you could pretty much put it in your hand, put it through the hair here, and then work it through, comb it. It's covered everything. On very long hair, it's probably better to section. And I know my wife's hair is about the same length as yours, not quite as thick. You know, she will section her hair, and then put the underneath on first, then the next layer, and she'll do about 5 sections all on, comb it through to make sure it's spread through, and she runs, she will do gym work. She finds it very easy if the treatment's on, just put it up.
It's actually easier to do it pre-workout than your hair's out your way.
It's out the way.
I love it for that.
It's out the way.
Okay, simple, and then leave it on for as long as you possibly can.
As you want, or at least 45 minutes.
And then regular shampoo and conditioner?
I mean,
obviously you're shampooing
yeah,
conditioner.
it's used as a system because the shampoo and conditioner also contain the key ingredients, and it doesn't work well if you're only using the treatment and then using a shampoo that's full of silicone, because it's going to make it harder for the hair to absorb, or very harsh shampoos. So we have a system where the shampoo and conditioner also feed, and we have a range of shampoos from finer hair which needs more volume to drier hair that needs more moisturising. We have a UV protective shampoo for all hair types, but particularly people that colour their hair. And then we also have more specialist shampoos, exfoliating, silver blonde shampoo, and we have a non-fragrance shampoo for people that like non-fragrance, which is our original shampoo. And we also have an old favourite, which is Angelica Rose, which was one of our very early trichological products, but it's just very, very popular. We've maintained that.
So what's interesting though is that Lifesaver can be used no matter your hair type, colour, what you've got on it, what you're lacking. Lifesaver is for
The Lifesaver is for everyone, all hair types.
Brilliant. So Lifesaver is your key to healthier, shinier and stronger hair for longer.
Yes.